Hi Aquarius, welcome to your September 2017 reading. Welcome back. And let's see what's going on for Aquarius. I know for me, I don't know about y'all, but the solar and lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse mainly was pretty heavy. I'm an Aquarius sun, so I felt like I had 500 pounds on my back up until the 21st, and then even till the 23rd, 24th, and then I began to feel a lot lighter. And I just noticed that things that were bothering me weren't really bothering me so much anymore. And I just had this weird sort of sense of compassion and understanding for people's fucked up behavior. I don't know if that makes any sense, but so this is first card out for Aquarius for September is Three of Cups. So, feeling, there's definitely some activity happening with friends and with friendships, this month. And, more teasing out of relationship stuff. And for us, friendships are also incredibly important to us, being ruled by the 11th house. So for us, our important relationships aren't just about, yeah, okay. So it seems like, we had, sorry, I'm moving the table a little bit closer. So we had the solar eclipse, and I'm going back to August for the eclipses because we don't just have an eclipse or, a full moon or a new moon or, some kind of astrological event and then that's it. We're done with it and we move on. There are takeaways, there are lessons, there are things that we need to learn from that. So we're carrying this solar eclipse energy with us going into September, on top of what's going to be happening for us in September as well. And it's all connected, right? It's not disconnected. And so what, excuse me, sorry. So we had the lunar eclipse, the full moon occurred in our first house, right? Back in August. And so there was some aspect of ourselves that needed to come to an end. There was some way that some behavior that we were engaging in terms of how we were relating to ourselves that needed to come to an end. Some aspect of ourselves, right, and how we relate to ourselves that needed to be finished with and done. Meanwhile, we had the solar eclipse, the new moon in Leo in our 7th house, right? And 7th house being the house of partnerships, relationships, contracts, business deals, but mainly one-on-one partnerships. That Libra house of how I harmonize with other people. And yes, marriages, close partnerships, partnerships that aren't just built off of romance, right? But are also built off of creating a life together, marriage, having children together. There are commitments there that extend beyond just the I love yous and the butterflies and the feelings, right? Like now we're moving into responsibility to one another and how that harmonizes and how that plays out between two people. And so there were new beginnings for us in that 7th house sector. And I know that a lot of us for the last year or two have been having a really difficult time in that 7th house region, right? There's been a lot of difficult lessons that we've had to learn regarding relationships and intimate romantic partnerships. And a lot of our lessons have come through to us via our intimate romantic partnerships. And I think as a result of that, a lot of us are still sort of on the fence, on edge about, do I want a relationship? Do I just want to fuck around? Do I, if I'm seeing this one person and I move it forward, like what bullshit are they now gonna throw my way, right? It's a lot of like, now expecting the bullshit, right? So just being like, yeah, like, what have you got? Like, what are you going to throw my way? I'm ready for it, but I may not let you in. You know, there's this sense of that. So I'm actually going to stop shuffling, and bottom of the deck, 3 of Swords. Yeah, there's homework that we needed to do regarding heartbreak and relationships, and how we've had our hearts broken in the past, and how we might have broken other people's hearts, right? Like, I know that, you know, one of the first things that I think about whenever I'm sort of dealing with heartbreak, right, is, well, how have I caused this upon somebody else, right? Because I know that I have, right? And so it's like, what karma am I creating for myself in my relationship sector? And so, yeah, there are some things that are still lingering for us. There are some things that are there's some pain that's still hidden, right? And it's made us incredibly cautious to a certain extent. And, you know, and we're also in Virgo season. And so Virgo season calls for all the signs and everybody to really sort of play with and engage with this energy of being very meticulous, being very discerning, planning ahead, and, you know, not really having time for things that aren't practical, right? So we're in that energy of like, is it practical? No, then it has no business in my life right now, right? So we have this 3 of Cups energy that came out for us first, right? And I say us because I'm also an Aquarius sun, and have many, many, many planets in Aquarius. So you have this 3 of Cups. So, you know, there is this focus on, okay, friendships, group associations, gatherings, which is a very comfortable place for us because we are the sign of friendship. We are the sign of group associations. We represent, you know, the group, right? And not so much standing out on one's own. So there is definitely this more of a focus on group dynamics and friendships and you know, how am I getting along with other people, right? Whether it be at work or whether it be, you know, in social circles that you're a part of, there's definitely a lot of activity and really fun activity happening among your friends. But I still feel, and I feel like this is an energy that we're carrying, this 5 of Swords, right? And the 5 of Swords represents sort of, you know, being deceitful, yes, but also sort of engaging in backhanded methods to kind of get what we want, right? And I do believe that the solar and the lunar eclipse has also kind of forced us to really look at, you know, the ways, our certain behaviors that we engage in, right? Like, how do I assert myself? And am I asserting myself in a way that's based in integrity? Or am I asserting myself in a way that's kind of sneaky and shady and throw shade and is like kind of backhanded, right? So I think, you know, and this is not just an Aquarius thing. Like, a lot of people engage in shady ways of getting their own way, right? Like, we all do it. But I think Aquarius was really being tested with, well, you know, are you being forthright and open and honest in your dealings with others and in how you sort of present yourself to the world and project your image to other people? Or is this sort of like, or is there like a hidden, right? Like, is there like a hidden image that you're kind of hiding, right? Like, are we pretending to kind of be this figure, right, here that seems very, you know, yes, is manipulating, right, totally, but like, it's very assured of themselves, can, you know, kind of gives 0 fucks, right, but deep down inside, right, when we get to the bottom of what's happening underneath the surface, feels very hurt and feels very sort of betrayed and feels very apprehensive about like just fucking with other people in general right now, right? So while I do see, you know, and this to me, this just popped into my head, the storyline popped into my head that yes, friendships are great. Like, there's definitely some good things. There's focus on friendships, right? And there's focus on possibly some problems, right, that you're trying to tease out in friendships. This could possibly represent a situation between you and a friend, or you and another person in your friendship circle, where you're not really sure, like, where you stand with them. You're not really sure how to read them. You feel as though they're sort of behaving in backhanded ways, right? But there still is like this sense of like, but I'm not completely, like, I need to reflect and really think about, you know, the connection, the relationship that I have between me and this other person. Like, is this other person trying to like throw shade at me and fuck me over? Like, is this other person trying to, you know, take what I have? Or is this other person, like, is this other person being shady, right? Or am I, or do I just need to chill out and like sort of meditate on it for a minute, right? Or is it just me, right? That is being really hypersensitive about the situation right now. So that can, and I think a lot of us are definitely in places where we feel very sort of cautious, right? Can I get clarity for that Five of Swords, though? I want to get more information on that Five of Swords. Five of Swords? Why is the Five of Swords here? Why is that Five of Swords here? Okay. Yeah, I really feel that there are things... Here comes the moon, right? And again, this can relate to that lunar eclipse when we had that full moon in Aquarius last month, right? And for me, it's really hard for me to pick apart, like, oh, now we're in this month. It's like, for me, it's all one continuous story, right? Like, I don't know, I can't read September without remembering what happened in August, right? So for me, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit, and I also think it might be pertinent for us because we just had some really intense shit go down in August for those lunar and solar eclipses. So I think it would do us some good to reflect a little bit and do some homework, right? Some review work regarding what happened. So, you know, this could definitely represent and talk about the lunar eclipse, that full moon in Aquarius that we had in August, right? Where we had to really, where aspects about ourselves were being illuminated. The shadow aspects of who we are, being in that first house, were being illuminated. How do I project myself to the world? What is the message that I send the world, right? To the people around me, right? And this really isn't a message that I want to project or send. And I hate to break it to you, but like, not as Aquarians, but as air signs in general, Aquarians and Geminis really. Also, you know, maybe Libras, but Aquarius and Geminis, we tend to sort of project this very detached, very removed sort of persona where we don't really care, or we can come off as kind of like manipulative because we're very intelligent, right? Or we're in touch with that intellectual aspect of who we are, being an air element, right? Being an air sign, that, you know, we can kind of come off as a bit mischievous and as a bit cunning and a little bit baffling too, right? We can baffle people. And we can confuse people. And so with this five of swords here, right? Like, being mindful of, you know, the image, because these two people are kind of fed up with it. These two people are like, whatever, do whatever you want to do. I don't even care anymore. Like, I don't give a shit. You know, if you want to take all that we've got, if you want to try and one-up us and dominate us just so that you can feel powerful, go ahead and do whatever you have to do, right? So this moon can definitely represent, you know, things being illuminated, right, regarding how you sort of play with others. And do you play nice or do you play well? Or, you know, and this can also represent, right, you know, things about, you know, a relationship or a person, right? A person, a friend that you are very unsure about. A friend that, you know, you feel like this one minute, and then the next minute you're like, but are they throwing shade? Like, what's going on? I can't get a good read on this person. And as Aquarians, we're very good at reading other people and reading situations. We play like we're not, but we actually are. We're very good at understanding what's happening in a group dynamic. And we may not let on that we understand, but we do understand. And but this person, for one reason or another, is really hard to kind of read, and you're not sure, right? Like Like, what is not being illuminated about this person? Like, something, I feel like something is being hidden. Something about this person is not being illuminated, and is not being, you know, is not being told. So the truth is not being revealed, right? And so in a sense, you know, this Four of Swords for me represents, yes, meditation, but in this instance, it kind of means reflecting, right? Reflecting on, you know, is it me or is it the other person, right? Am I the person that's tripping out, or are they really actually sort of engaging in this behavior that's not really agreeing with my character, right? Let's clarify this Four of Swords as well and see what's going on. So let's see what's going on with this Four of Swords. Three of Pentacles, and I want to clarify. Oh, this Nine of Wands is pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, this Three of Pentacles being clarified by the Four of Swords, reflecting and meditating on the foundations of your relationships, right? I think that whatever the situation is here with this person, right, is also kind of forcing you to reflect upon, well, how am I behaving? Like, I am the common denominator in all of my relationships. I am the common denominator in all of my friendships, in my romantic relationships. And, you know, and if my relationships aren't going well, or if I'm constantly in romantic relationships where I end up feeling like this at the end of it all, like, how am I also playing a part in getting myself there, right? And that was also sort of, I believe, was a theme for Libra as well, was like, how are you creating your own spilled cups, right? How are you creating your own sort of grief when it comes to relationships, right? And I'm not talking about abusive relationships or where consent is not being respected. Like, I'm talking about relationships that are fairly healthy, right? Relationships where, like, you know that you had a part, right, and how things turned out, or, you know, in ignoring the red flags, right, where there were red flags that you ignored, right? So I definitely see us reflecting on, like, well, what are the foundations, and what, like, am I allowing a foundation to be built in the first place in my relationships, right? Like, am I allowing the patience, right? Like, this person here in this Four of Swords has patience. Meditation and reflection takes patience. It takes time. Are you allowing things to sort of naturally come to fruition? Are you allowing a foundation to even be built in your relationships? Or are you just kind of here in this energy, right? Or are you in the Seven of Cups energy where you're expecting all of these cups to be manifested and to be fulfilled, but there really isn't, like, you're not willing to do the work, and you're not really willing to recognize a foundation that needs to be built, right? Like a foundation needs to be created. And I feel like the aftermath of this Nine of Wands was somebody who tried to create something or build something before having a proper plan, and they got a little bit fucked up, right? Like, they have this head bandage on, and they're not feeling so hot about themselves, and they're feeling kind of nervous and apprehensive. But they've learned the lesson, because now there's these wands set up, right? There's this foundation, the beginnings of this wall that's being built. But it took getting a little bit kind of beat up and bent up in order to recognize, oh, if I want to come together with somebody, then it probably, you know, would do me good to do my due diligence and actually create a foundation and have the patience to do that, right? Because then I won't end up here with another bandage on my arm or on my leg, or, you know, God forbid, dead, right? Like, not wanting to even engage anymore in the process of building a relationship, right? Or are you here? Like, this Seven of Cups to me definitely speaks to, you know, illusions, delusions, things, you know, and we're having the Pisces full moon is going to be occurring for us in our second house. So our house of self-worth, of value, you know, what old delusions and illusions about my self-worth do I carry around, right? What needs to be let go? What needs to be sort of dissipated and destroyed in order to make room, you know, for that Virgo new moon on the 19th. The full moon's happening on the 6th of September, so in a few days. And then we're going to be having the new moon in Virgo on the 19th of September happening in our 8th house, right? So, you know, the 8th house being that house of birth, death, rebirth, regeneration, the merging of assets, the merging of partners sexually, emotionally, you know, how am I merging with people? And with Virgo being there, Virgo, the mission of Virgo is to look at something and to think, you know, and to reflect on, does this thing serve a purpose? Does it have a function? Does it, you know, is the way that I'm merging with my partners, either sexually or financially or, you know, emotionally, does it have a purpose? Is it of its highest good? No, get rid of it. No, then stop behaving in that way, right? So Virgo wants us to sort of tease out what doesn't work, because Virgo has no time for things that aren't functional. Virgo has no time for things that don't serve a purpose, because Virgo's on a mission, right? Virgo's on a mission for perfection. And if something is messing up, right, is a cog, you know, is, you know, throwing off the cog in the wheel, or whatever that metaphor is, I can't think of it right now, then Virgo wants to get rid of it. So Virgo really, that new moon in Virgo is asking for us in our 8th house, you know, our center of death and rebirth, and our Scorpio house, to really look at, you know, the ways in which I merge with people emotionally, the ways in which I go about using other people's money. Is it serving a purpose or not, right? And if not, then how do we make room for new ways of being, right? So let's see what else is coming up for Aquarius. I have this Hierophant here. And usually Aquarius, you know, the Hierophant in reverse is more like our card, right? The Hierophant upright really doesn't agree with us too much, right? Because Aquarius is all about destroying and the iconoclast, right? Destroying and breaking down old symbols and replacing them with new symbols turned up on their head, right? New symbols that represent rebellion, freedom, a new age, that don't pay homage to the fucked up ways of the past, whatever they may be to you. Like, you know, the Hierophant, you know, in reverse is really our card. But what I'm really feeling is that the Hierophant is really kind of asking us, you know, and because I see it, you know, above or beneath this 5 of Swords and this Moon card, I really feel the Hierophant is sort of asking us, like, you know, and Sagittarius kind of had a very similar message. Like, are you rebelling just to sort of rebel and be an asshole? Like, are you sort of going out of your way to like cause debauchery around you? Like, are you going out of your, like, are you like, or are, like, what's the purpose, right? And Sagittarius kind of had a very similar message. And I was saying in the Sag reading, I kept bringing up how much I feel that Sagittarius energy and Aquarius energy can be very similar in a lot of ways, and being this very rebellious sort of, you know, intellectual, you know, otherworldly, you know, high thinking, whatever you want to call it, kind of energy, right? But sometimes getting carried away with that and doing it only as a way to appease the ego, not because it really serves the greater good, right? But because it serves the ego. And that sometimes, you know, with the activist archetype, that can be a big thing. With the shadow side of the activist archetype is that the activist can then sort of have the savior complex and think, well, I'm doing all of these things because I'm needed and I'm so neat. Like, nobody needs you. We don't fucking need you. So don't, you know what I mean? Like, we're all in this together. You are not one person who's needed more than another. So I think this Hierophant is really asking you to sort of, you know, think about, like, what are your own delusional normative beliefs that you have latched onto regarding relationships? And I feel like there's just been so much going on that has happened to us. Like, we've been in this energy that there's just so much distrust at this point. And that, you know, even in our friendships, even in our day-to-day friendships that aren't romantic and we really don't have a strong emotional investment in, we're still kind of like, what the fuck is up with this person? We're just like, fuck everybody, right? Excuse my language, but this is like really, you know, that's just what I'm feeling like I need to say, right? That's being, you know, honest for Aquarians right now. But at the same time, there is this realization of, okay, well, how do I practically build foundations in my relationships? And how can I build better foundations in my relationship so that I can actually have more authentic, more realistic, you know, ideas of relationships, right? So I want to clarify the Seven of Cups. That's too much. I want to clarify the Seven of Cups and the Hierophant. So can I get clarification for the Seven of Cups? Why is the Seven of Cups here? Why is Seven of Cups here? That's a lot. Why is the Seven of Cups here? And I want to have another mini reading in the middle of it, right? So yeah, five of Wands, right? So what are your delusions and ideas regarding conflict as well, right? Let's get a card for the Hierophant so we can get a bigger picture. Can I get a clarification for the Hierophant? S'il vous plaît. King of Cups. So I definitely feel that, you know, we have some very strong ideas possibly about an actual particular lover that we've had in the past. King of Cups can be a water sign or a watery person, you know, a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or can, you know, represent a person who is very much, has mastered their emotions, is very much in touch with their emotions. Nonetheless, this is, you know, definitely, to me, feels like a person. Feels like a person and also feels like, you know, our beliefs, our own beliefs and our own traditional normative ways as Aquarians of dealing with our emotions, right? And the King of Cups is very much in touch with his emotions, but still being a king and still having the elements of air within him is not going to really let on, right? Is not really going to let on regarding his emotions. But I do feel that this is also, you know, regarding ideas, or we've put this person on this pedestal. We've put this King of Cups, who's already on a pedestal, right? We've put them on like another pedestal, right? We've put them on this Hierophant, and we're giving them a lot more. We're giving them a lot more power than we need to regarding our feelings, our emotions. Feeling like, you know, can I do this again? Can I do this love thing again? Can I like come together with people again, right? And there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of belief, right? There's a lot of belief now that what once held, you know, beliefs that things could be really beautiful and things could be really lavish and lovely and amazing between me and this person, or me and any person, or I can just, you know, this relationship is totally possible. This, you know, this pie in the sky relationship is possible. Now it's been replaced by like, no, all that really exists is fucking conflict. All that really exists is difficulties and troubles and like, you know, hardships between me and other people, even in my friendships. Like I'm even having a hard time just like navigating friendships. How can I possibly navigate this relationship? And it's all this person's fault. Like this person has now set up, right, a new set of beliefs regarding how I think about love and relationships. And, you know, let's get some more information on this King of Cups. Can I have more information on this King of Cups, please? Can I have more information on this King of Cups? That's a lot. But yeah, this person left you out in the cold. And there's a lot of like wondering what happened. Wondering, you know, I really like this person, but I feel left out a lot. I felt left out. And like I said before in the beginning, when we had that Three of Swords in the bottom of the deck, there's a lot of work that needs to occur around this person. There really is. There is. You know? And if you're currently in a relationship with that person or, you know, with a person, then there's some trust issues that are happening between you and that person. But let's see what else is you know, I want to pull a couple more cards and then do an outcome card. More messages for Aquarius for September 2017. Any more messages for Aquarius? Is there any more? How about this? How about what guidance do you have for Aquarius for September 2017? A lot of guidance. I'm not going to pick all those up because that's literally half the deck. So we're going to shuffle it again. Guidance for Aquarius for September 2017. So there's a lot of Aquarians right now that need a lot of different things I'm picking up on. Guidance for Aquarius for September 2017. It's the best piece of guidance for Aquarius for September 2017. Best piece of guidance for Aquarians. Okay, those wanted to come. Okay, so you have the Queen of Wands and the Four of Wands. So I think that's beautiful. So the Queen of Wands, you know, I do believe that for some of you, for some Aquarians, there is a person, there is another person, not this King of Cups, right? This King of Cups is old news that we've managed to kind of give a lot of power to. And we're not worshiping this King of Cups, but we're definitely allowing this King of Cups to have a lot more power and setting the tone for our new beliefs regarding love, right? This King of Cups has managed to kind of shift our thinking, and we're too good for that. Like, we're fucking Aquarians. We're too good for that. We're the trendsetters, and people follow us, you know? Like, we're not, like, that's not, it doesn't work like that. We're human, yes. I'm just playing around with you all. We're human, so, you know, we do get into this. We have emotions, we have feelings. Aquarians do have feelings, contrary to popular belief. We are sensitive. We have a very different way of expressing how we feel, and going about doing it. And we also feel, you know, I know for me that, you know, the feelings of others, the feelings of the group and of society at large, there's bigger things that are happening besides the importance of my own internal emotions. Like there's way bigger shit happening. There's people dying. There are people like there are bigger things than how I'm feeling right now. And that's kind of the Aquarian mentality, right? So it's not that we don't care, that we don't feel. We just, you know, we just decide to tell ourselves like there are bigger things right there out, you know, and we're also the highest evolved air sign, right? So we have the capacity to see the bigger picture. in a lot of ways. So the Queen of Wands, I feel like, is another person that is there for you, that is, you know, very warm, very welcoming, definitely complements your air energy, right? Being a fire sign, right? You can joke around with this person. You can be honest with this person. You can have fun with this person. You can be yourself with this person, and you don't have to kind of create an image, or you don't have to, nothing is hidden with this person, right? And they're available to you, right? And there's definitely stability there. You know, it's a Four of Wands, right? It's not the Ten of Cups, not the Ten of Pentacles, right? It's the Four of Wands. So it's the ability for a foundation to be set, right? You all were sitting here thinking to yourselves, well, how can I actually create a foundation? Like, how do I create foundations in my relationships? Do I even do that? Or do I just rush ahead into things and then wonder why I'm ending up getting hurt, you know? Still able to stand up and fight, but hurt nonetheless. You can make a foundation with this person, and this person understands what it takes to create a foundation because they're both wands, right? So she understands, he understands, they understand, right? Like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can totally create a foundation with you. It's my own wands that are holding up this foundation anyway, right? So I do feel that you have the capacity to really create and build something with this person. But beforehand, there needs to be a release of this person, right? There needs to be a release, right, of all of these beliefs, right? This dichotomy, this paradigm of either things are peachy keen and beautiful, or they're all just kind of fucked up. You have to kind of come to you have to find a way to blend these two. Like, yes, I can have what I want, and there's going to be conflict, and it's going to be okay. There are going to be things that I'm not going to like, and it's going to be okay. How can you blend these two energies together? So I want to get an outcome card for you all, for Aquarius, for September 2017. Can I have an outcome card? Outcome for Aquarius, September 2017. Okay. 8 of Swords. So still, you know, a little bit of holding ourselves, you know, the good news is with this card, the thing that's imprisoning you is yourself. The thing that's imprisoning you is your own way of thinking about things, right? And, you know, we also have this Four of Swords energy here. So there is some reflecting that's happening. There is some definite, you know, reflecting that's happening, but there's still some things that we got to untie ourselves from. There's still some things to untie ourselves from. I definitely see a lot of us making moves and picking up one of these swords and cutting through these bandages, right? But still being mindful, right? And we even have the Hermit on the bottom of the deck. So there's still some things that we're learning, right? And we're not gonna, all these swords aren't gonna dissipate in one day, right? So we're slowly but surely dissipating every single one of these 8 of Swords, and we're freeing ourselves slowly but surely, but we're still in the process, is what I feel like this card is trying to tell us, that we're still in the process, we're still trying to make it work, we're still making moves, but nonetheless, there's work to be done. And also being mindful that right, if, you know, this person has a lot of what it is that you're asking for, and again, being mindful that the distrust and whatever fuckery happened right here, right? Or like whatever has us feeling like this doesn't have to keep us here. And it doesn't have to keep us from experiencing this. We can't experience that. But nonetheless, a lot of us are feeling very apprehensive. But in that apprehension, recognize that it's in our mind. It's in our mind. All right? All right, Aquarius. So that's your reading for September 2017. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, you can email me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, which is tattoosandtarot.com. And I'm having my website redone at the moment, so it's probably best to just email me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com. And also, if you purchased a reading with me recently, please send me an email so we can confirm and make a date and a time to do the reading, because the way that PayPal works is that I cannot contact buyers. They give me no information of anybody that's purchased a reading from me. They just give me a receipt, and then I have no way of getting in touch with you. Where do I send the reading? Who do I contact? What do you even want to ask me? So if you've purchased a reading from me and have not emailed me yet, please send me an email so that we can get down to scheduling a session together. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment or email me, and I will see you all in October. All right, bye, Aquarians.